This is the Final Word Daily. England, Australia, One Day International, number 4, Geoff Lemon and Will Macpherson joining the show. Long-time friend of, first season friend of. You've been here since the very beginning. The show's brought to you by Westfield, London, Westfield, Stratford City. Will, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me about this game that happened at Lord's? If you're watching the video, you can see it over our shoulder, just to prove that we are actually at Lord's. Can you tell me about it in 30 seconds or less?
I could try. We all woke up thinking that we weren't going to get any play today because it had rained and it rained and it rained overnight. They even did a toss and it rained a little bit more. England won it. They chose to bat. They then batted really quite nicely. Ben Duckett set the tone, lost Salt and Jacks early. Then Brooke and Smith got involved. Then Livingstone launched an absolutely enormous assault on Stark's final over. Australia got off to a flyer in response to 3-12, but it all went nastily wrong. After head hit cast onto the roof, head got out, and then Australia crumbled into a heap, so we're off to Bristol.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much right. What a bizarre match.
It was mental.
What a bizarre... 39 overs aside, and yet England made 300 and won by nearly 200.
Yeah, it was. It was bizarre. It actually felt like ODIs were quite fun again. I know we've knocked 11 overs off the ODI, off an
Maybe
ODI tonight.
39 overs is the optimum format.
Actually, in England, until about 10 years ago, we were playing Pro 40 domestic cricket, and there is a school of thought that that is actually what made the 2015 to 19 team really good at cricket, at 50-over cricket, because they'd played a more condensed form in their youth and then got into the international setup. They had 10 overs longer, and it really made them like better players. And actually, today's that was a great, 40 overs feels really nice. It felt like a really good amount. I know it was 39. And Australia only actually batted for less than 25. But it was like a really nice length of game. I think there was a real, it was a nice atmosphere here generally because, people, I genuinely think people thought they weren't going to get a game today because it had rained so much. I also think this is one of the only grounds in England we would have got a game on today because the Lord's drainage is famously good and the slope just rolls off. All that stuff played in. I thought we also
hear about the slope.
You never no. Apparently it nips up, nips down. It was also two other really I thought funny moments that brought the crowd into it, added to a great atmosphere. There was Inglis claiming the catch off Brooke down the leg side, which obviously Carey, even when the team sheet came out and Carey wasn't keeping, that was a bit like, oh damn, Australia are back at Lord's and Carey's playing, but he's not keeping.
Yeah, in the side as a specialist batsman after his pair of 70s in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and then Inglis just took on the role of pantomime villain Australian keeper and claimed a catch off Brooke, which it only took one replay really to be clear. It's one of those ones where Inglis has no idea whether it's bounced or not, but Australia went up as you do. The replay reveals it's not out. Brooke carried. He's on 17 or something.
That's why we have the replay, right?
Yeah,
that's why an umpire can
it's
say,
perfect use of umpiring, right? And it carried on. The game carried on. He got a few boos. Same old Aussies always cheating, that kind of stuff. And then the other moment that I just absolutely loved was the deflection off the bat, which went for 4, right down to in front of the pavilion where Stokes had done it all those years ago. They actually got 6 runs today, didn't they? Not 5. Because the law was correctly applied.
Well, they got 6 the other time, but they should have only got 5.
Yes, the law was correctly applied today.
Yeah, but today they'd already crossed when the deflection happened. So when the throw started coming back in.
Yeah, so that was great, and that was just, I don't know, it was just little throwbacks to previous games that I thought were fun, and obviously it sets up a decider on Sunday, which isn't going to happen.
Well, good chance Sunday gets rained off, but the rains are not supposed to start till the middle of the afternoon. So do they do what they did with the 50-over domestic cup final? Get smart and say, well, let's play 30 overs aside. You
know full well that they won't get smart.
We'll get 50 overs and then 6 overs of the chase.
Well, and also, I've just said that we learned today that 39-over cricket is actually really good. So they should just knock 11 overs off each innings and play 39 overs.
Well, it didn't go so well for Australia, so they may not like the 39 thing. But so I thought they started pretty well. Gloomy skies, delayed start, like you said, finally got going. Mitchell Marsh has already won the toss before the second rain delay, so that even more plays into the hands of winning the toss because you want to chase, you want to know what you're chasing, and you want to make use of good bowling conditions. And they made decent use of it. Hazelwood was seaming it that little bit nicely as he does. Stark bowled well. They had Salt and Duckett batted slowly enough, 48, when the first wicket falls near the end of the power play. Salt makes 22, Duckett makes 63, but at a run of ball, Will Jacks gets out cheaply. So they're 2 down for 71, 3 down for 150 when Duckett's out. So there's 15 overs left, and you're thinking, well, Australia have done reasonably well. England are only going at 5 and over here. So if they get a couple more wickets, they can suppress it. They could keep them to 220, 240, something like that. And then Brook gets going. He gets up to 87 and starts really flourishing, but gets out. Jamie Smith makes 39 in a hurry, but gets out. And even at that point, 241 for 5, I'm still thinking, well, they can run through the rest and maybe it's 260, something like that. But no, Liam Livingstone, who has been a point of fascination through this series, in the T20 squad, not in the one-day squad, gets included, comes straight into the 11 and comes out and plays the kind of innings today that they've been hoping Liam Livingstone would play for years and years. 62 off 27 balls, 7 sixes along the way. Took his time, a lot of drives down to long on for the first, 6 or 8 deliveries, which felt like a long time at the time, and then just started going monstrous.
Yeah, that was, as you say, that is the innings they want him to play. And like at the end, he's taking 28 off of Mitchell Stark. Yeah. That is Mitchell Stark. Like, that is arguably the greatest World Cup bowler of all time. Like, 50 over World Cup. He's supreme white ball bowler. Maybe not still on the up, but that's fine. Like, and Stark missed a lot there, but every single ball got punished that deserved to be punished.
Yeah, 3 sixes in a row in that last over.
It's 4 sixes and a 4 and a dot second ball, and it was brilliant striking. I think England obviously they showed their hand with Livingstone, as you said, when they picked their squads and they dropped him from the ODIs. They picked Bethel for this kind of role at 6 or 7, bowling a bit of spin. Bethel's obviously he's a decade younger than Livingstone. They want to invest in him, but Livingstone probably just gave a reminder today that when Butler's back in the West Indies, like Livingstone still got quite a lot to offer in that role, and maybe at the moment Livingstone, just maybe till the end of the Champions Trophy, Livingstone's possibly a better player than Bethel, and that's the way they'll go for now. If there's only space for one of those two in the team, I wouldn't think that long term there's space for both Livingstone, Bethel, and also Jackson. He bowls a bit of spin as well. I wouldn't think they could all play. I mean, actually, today England's win was so emphatic that they only used 4 bowlers, so none of those 3 were required to bowl a single over. But that is going to happen once in a blue moon. But yeah, that's why they picked Livingstone like that, and it was like really crisp, sweet ball striking. I think he hit 7 sixes. It's the quickest ODI 50 at Lords. Like, yeah, that's why I pick him. It's good to see. Like, he's a guy who he's very Marmite character in English cricket. I think he got a bit of swagger about him. He had this really amazing year in 2021 where he's kind of best player in the first year of 100. He hit a ball onto the roof at the new stand at Headingley, which everyone went crazy for, and he scored a very quick T20I 100 at Trent Bridge, which is obviously very small, and quite a lot of people score 100 at Trent Bridge. But he had an amazing summer that year. I mean, actually, he's flattered to deceive a bit since in both ODIs and T20s for England, and he's obviously been this franchise guy. So he's not necessarily loved by England fans. I don't think...
But you get that when people expect a lot and then you don't deliver what they think they should have got, even if that expectation's unreasonable.
Exactly, yeah. And he's not from the generation that are sort of slowly being discarded, the Mowins, the Bairstows, maybe Root Stokes, those kind of guys. He's not that old. He's 30-odd, 31 maybe. So he's still got time. He can still make 2027 and be a really good player at that point. Next couple of T20 World Cups. And actually, this month against Australia, he's done himself that great innings at Cardiff. Like he's done himself a lot of favours. I think he'll be around when at a point he'll stick around at a point when they could easily have binned him off from both.
Yeah, I think that's the key point, is that they were, and maybe it was tactical, maybe it was a boot up the arse to leave him out of the one-day squad in the first place. Australia's reply doesn't last that long. I mean, they win the battle of the power plays, as Andy Zaltzman had it. They're 68 for 1 before the first wicket falls. Travers Head hits a couple of big ones, clips Archer over square leg. I'll come back to the other 6 in the Hall of Fame. Mitchell Marsh, 28, rifles a couple of straight drives, plays that big pickup, but it was difficult out there. You could see that the ball was doing something. It was moving around a bit. So Bryden Cast gets 19 taken off his first over and then bowls so cleverly to Head in, like they keep him on. I liked that about, sometimes Brook has seemed a bit naive as a captain, which you would expect. You could say that's naive or you could say it's backing your player, but either way, he keeps Cast on, who bowls in at leg stump consistently, doesn't give Head that much room, and then bowls him through the gate effectively, because Head's backing away to the leg side trying to slash it sort of offside, and that knocks him over, and that's really the start of everything falling apart. Steve Smith comes and goes quickly, edging one, sort of charging and nicking one, and then Mitchell Marsh after that. bowled by Jofra Archer. I don't know what you want to talk about first, Cass or Archer, but both of them deserve some talking.
They do, yeah. I mean, Archer, I don't want to talk about being back to his best and all that kind of stuff, because I think his best will be hopefully when he's got a red ball in his hand next summer. But that was just really smooth. Like he looks in groove, perfectly grooved, doesn't he? Cass is one of those bowlers who never looks very grooved, I don't think. No. He's a bit kind of fidgety and doesn't look quite right, but he gets good players out, Cass, and he finds a way. Like as you said, like he took some real tap in his first over and then kept his composure. And actually, he's becoming a significant player for England in all formats. He's not played Test cricket yet, but they go to Pakistan next week, and I'd be amazed if he doesn't make his Test debut there, because he's shown previously that he's a sort of adequate batter, and England need a number 8. So, he's sort of. Yeah, again, he's another player who this month, at a fork in the road maybe in his career, he's someone who has taken the right path and shown that he can mix it at this level. He's quick as well. England are developing, and this is sort of what English cricket does. We talk about developing batteries of quick to rival. We've spent a decade,
20 years doing that.
Yeah,
they all break down.
Yeah, we spent a decade literally looking at Cummins, Stark, and Hazelwood as a trio. Enviously.
But they've never existed before in the history of the game, and probably never will again. Like no country has ever had 3 fast bowlers who've been that durable and played together that often. Yeah,
it's literally since 2017 Ashes. They've just gone through basically in every important game they've been available for, well, involving England anyway. But yeah, we look at them and we think, oh yeah, but it's actually kind of happening a little bit. You know, you've got Ollie Stone and you've got Cass, Atkinson, Archer, Wood. You know, suddenly you can see the makings. And actually another guy, the guy who ended up with the most wickets tonight was Potts. He got 4 who's easy to overlook in that. You know, because the other 2 guys hit 90, they're more eye-catching. But Potts is pretty steady, durable bowler actually now, and he's again shown in ODI cricket that he can do it. He's sort of played a few Test matches. I think Potts has got he's got a lot about him. I think Potts use that
phrase. It was just I'm not going to say Archer back to his best and all that. He's been building into it, but there was something really satisfying symbolically about seeing him run away from the Lord's Pavilion, remembering 2019, dropping it short, not all the time, but once in a while, bombed Labuschagne a bit, hit him on the arm,
forearm elbow,
which was quite painful, and took some treatment and so on. Bowled his fastest over since 2020. He bowled an over where he was averaging well up in the 90s. And then the ball that he bowls to Mitchell Marsh was a beauty that just seems away a touch, just a whisker, just enough to beat the edge, knocks his off stump out of the ground. And then Australia are 5 down in a hurry. Cass gets a couple, and then Maxwell's the 6th to go, and it's Archer again. It's pace. Maxwell's trying to take it on because they're already 200 runs behind and have 25 overs to get them. You've got to take it on, but. Has a big pull shot at it, nicks it through to the keeper. So 2 for Archer, and I spoke to him for TMS after play, and he said he was quite candid about the fact that he was supposed to play games 1, 3 and 5, but he said, well, it's not going to, there's a good chance we don't get game 5, and I didn't want to miss a Lord's game. So basically he pressured the physios and so on into giving him the tick to play today, and he looked the best that he's looked for a long time.
Yeah, he absolutely did. It did feel like what I felt actually from Archer was a recognition that this was actually quite a big game. It was a big occasion. I know that you've been kind of saying this on TMS when I've been listening, but like these games are sold out. People care about this. I know we spent a lot of time this summer talking down English cricket and like the schedule and the way things are laid out, and think people are going, why the hell are they playing a day night at Lords on the 27th of September? And yeah, there is a bit of that, but actually England were 2-1 down in a series with 2 to play against Australia, and Archer was the player who I really felt led the culture in that team today of being like, guys, this is massive. Like he celebrated those 2 wickets like really vigorously, and he found that performance when England really needed it after Australia got off to a really nice start in the chase. And he actually bowled like a proper senior player. I think we've always maybe slightly in English cricket infantilised Archer a little bit because he sort of appeared from nowhere in 2019. It was a very experienced team at that point, and he was the young guy. I mean, he's been injured pretty much non-stop since. He's not the young guy anymore. He's actually the experienced pro in this bowling attack. He's the senior guy, and he bowled like it today, and that was really cool to watch.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, and he's got that experience of going through all of this injury and rehab and trying to work out how to do it. So Australia get bowled out pretty quickly in the end, all out for 126. Potts takes 4, Archer 2, Cast 3, Rashid 1. No one did anything much for Australia. It's kind of unbelievable that they got thumped so badly, especially at Lords, where they have a good record. Let's come to the final word, Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is brought to you by Westfield, London, Westfield, Stratford City. You may say, why are they playing cricket on the 27th of September? You will never say, why are we going to Westfield, London on the 27th of September? You can go there at any time. You can go there in the middle of winter. It might be freezing outside, but it will be warm and pleasant inside. And if you're like, I want to go rock climbing indoors, you can. If you want to go and get a new set of threads, you can. If you want to go bowling, you can. All of the things that you can do at Westfield, a place that I'm confident that you spend a lot of your spare time. Well, Macpherson.
Absolutely.
Hall of Fame, we have to start with Travis Head and the 6 that he hit into St John's Wood Road, over the roof out there on the mound stand. And, you know, I was on commentary, I was like, okay, he's big, he's hit it a long way. But so both Alistair Cook and Jonathan Agnew, who both watched a lot of cricket at Lords, both said, that's the biggest 6 I've ever seen at this ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm a bit used to seeing balls hit out of various grounds. It happened a lot in the Caribbean through the T20 World Cup, but that is a monstrous hit. I remember Jimmy Neesham just hitting the clock up there during the 2019 World Cup final, but that one was even bigger as it managed to skip out of Lords entirely.
Yeah, it kind of bounced out. It was a very satisfying exit. I thought, the kind of white tops they've got out there, and he just zipped off one of them, and it would have gone onto a road which will have cars, cyclists, running up and down it. So I would like to know what happened to the ball. But it
I
was a
hope it
beautiful
ended
strike.
up in like the backpack of a delivery rider, and somebody got it with their burger.
Yeah, that would be an extremely satisfying way to exit Lords.
Hall of Fame, anything jump out at you?
I said the kind of symbolism of the things that reminded me of games prior here, but the actual we have mentioned it. But the third one was the third thing that reminded me of an old game at Lords was Labuschagne getting pinned by Archer first ball. I know in 2019 when he came in as the concussion sub for Smith and like incredible drama, that was his helmet, and that was like he actually got floored. But this was like forearm, chest, like, and it looked just as painful in its own way. And I just thought, like, it was great. It's under lights. We'd had a lovely sunset. It was like, what great theatre. Crowd really wound up, and I just thought that actually, I know this is not Hall of Fame worthy, but it kind of capped I don't think he's injured, Labuschagne, but it kind of capped a irritating day injury-wise for Australia because Green has gone home, which is difficult. I'm sure you will come back to that in more detail at some stage, but that is bad news.
Green's got a back problem, so he was out. Matt Short got dropped so that they could keep Carey in the side as a batter, and he was the one left there at the end trying to do something. Ended up making 13, but batted for a long time. It was tough batting out there. Like the ball was moving plenty. My last bit for a Hall of Fame is just, I'm like, if we put this into context, 1937, Ashes, Bradman, England, Australia go 2-0 down, come back and level the series 2-2, and then win the decider. Could this be Harry Brooks' one-day Ashes? I almost said this on the radio, and then I thought, given the demographic, I may be dragged out into the street and beaten because people will think I'm being serious here. But can we get the drum beating that this will be the equivalent of Bradman's turnaround with the win, the reverse batting order win at the MCG?
Yeah, I mean, every time England go 2-0 down in the actual Ashes, which is they go 2-0 down every time. Yeah. There I am furiously writing, England have never come back from 2-0 down against Australia. Well, they've got their chance now.
They've got their chance if we get a game at Bristol. Fingers crossed. Thanks for being with us. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/thefinalword. If you want to help out Westfield, go to Westfield, London or Stratford City. They like us, we like them. Thanks to Will Macpherson for joining the show. I'm Geoff Lemon. We'll see you next time.